David Bird here, the Connection Coach, and in this video I want to talk to you about that sense of I can't change or it's not possible. And I was having a conversation with someone recently who was dealing with some long-term anxiety that's basically shown up in a form of a strong phobia. And she's been dealing with this for like 20 odd years or something, and she's tried lots of different things, such as seeing lots of different therapists and trying different approaches, and basically none of it's worked. So as we were exploring it, I asked her, what would it be like once this is no longer a problem, once you've overcome this? And she was like, I don't know. And eventually she said, I just can't see it. I was like, right, interesting. Because that, coupled with the fact that she'd been talking about all these things that hadn't worked and just some things in her language, I got this sense of hopelessness. So I asked her, like, out of interest, how possible do you believe it is that this can change, that you can change this? And she said to me, to be honest, I don't think it's possible at all. I'm like, right, interesting. Now, this might seem bonkers because she's called me for help. She obviously wants to change it, but then at the same time she doesn't think it's possible. Yet I find that's really quite common, that we can have that kind of conflict, that a person can really want to change something and yet on some level believe it's not possible, because essentially everything within their experience has shown them, or at least they've learned from their experience, this isn't possible, or it's not possible for me to change this. So anyway, we talked around it a bit more, and then I asked her, okay, so if it was possible for you to change, how would you know? What would need to happen for you to know it was possible for this to change for you? And we talked around this a bit, and eventually she said, I just need to take the next step. I was like, right, see, there's some possibility there. There's something that's changed there. However, with this, the next step, she on some level knows what that means, but I have no idea. So I ask her, well, if you've taken that next step, if you take that next step, how will you know? And then she burst out laughing. And then she says, well, I've already taken it. And then the conversation really shifted. Now, I don't know exactly what she saw when she laughed, but here's what I do know. She will have seen something different at that point when she laughed. She's seen something insightfully that she's not seen before. And that's why she's laughed, because it's kind of surprised her. And my sense is it's something like this, that before she's been seeing there's no way through, that this is how things are, there's no possibility it can change. And then in getting close to her experience and looking at it from different angles, she's then insightfully seen essentially that's not true. She's seen that her experience is different to what she's actually thought. And in doing that, this idea that it's not possible was kind of, my sense is it's somehow disappeared, hence the laughter. And that's why the conversation then shifted. And this is for me why we have to look at perceptual change before we look at behaviour change. If we try and do behaviour change before the perception changes, it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse. It doesn't really work, or at least it doesn't really sustain. My sense is before, when she's been trying to change things, it's become that self-fulfilling prophecy. And if we hadn't got past that point where we got past earlier, the same thing would have happened in our work together. So, is this something you struggle with the idea of change, that you don't think you can change, or it's somehow not possible for you? Or have you resonated with anything else that I've talked about in this video? If you have, leave me a comment, send me a DM, get in touch somehow. I'd love to hear from you.